Hey guys, how's it going? Today we'll be continuing our series on each Spider-Man film to hit theaters. And as I'm sure the title suggests, we'll be diving into Tom Holland's first feature-length film in Spider-Man Homecoming. This film and Spider-Man as a character being a part of a wider superhero universe within the MCU helps this iteration of the character immensely. When there's already an Ant-Man and a Black Widow, why not a Spider-Man as well? This means we don't really need the whole backstory with the spider bite and Uncle Ben's speech, which is good because we've already seen that on screen enough. And having Tony Stark as the new mentor figure is such a breath of fresh air for the character of Spider-Man, as he provides a much different form of mentorship for Peter. But it's ultimately equally effective, and at the start of the film, he tells Peter, "Don't do anything I would do, and definitely don't do anything I wouldn't do. There's a little gray area in there. That's where you operate." While somewhat dismissive, Peter takes this advice and really runs with it, becoming the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that we all know and love, and blows up Happy's DMs wondering when his next mission will be in the meantime. But this speech from Tony really sets up the fact that this is going to be a smaller scale coming-of-age superhero film. While I think every actor who has wore the Spider-Man suit on the big screen has brought something unique to the role, I can say that Tom Holland feels the most like a teenager, both off of looks and through his acting. He just naturally feels like a high schooler, and since this is very much a coming-of-age story, it fits the parameters of the story very well. Peter being a high school nerd and debate team standout also helps establish Peter as a super intelligent but wide-eyed teenager, who has the intellect to be a great hero but needs the hands-on experience to learn the ropes. In this vein, Peter makes plenty of mistakes in this film, from embarrassing himself while trying to interrogate Aaron Davis, to accidentally blowing up a ferry. And while his heart is in the right place from the start, he needs these setbacks to get some tough love from Tony. When Iron Man tells him, "If you're nothing without the suit, you shouldn't have it," we get this film's version of the responsibility speech. And I must say it works very well for this film, because at his core, Spider-Man has always just been an average-day person who is special not just because of his powers or suit, but because he has a heart of a hero. Separating Peter from his suit forces him to find that hero within himself, and the fact that he can still save the day at the end of the film without his high-tech suit completes his coming-of-age arc excellently. Now, I'm pretty good at seeing movie twists coming before the epic reveal, but this movie's twists generally caught me by surprise. When Peter goes to pick up his date for the dance and the main villain of the film opened the door, I was shocked. And Michael Keaton really kills it as the Vulture in this film. He's certainly a smaller scale villain by MCU standards, but that's perfect for this film. And Keaton really just has a knack for winged superhero characters. First Batman, then Birdman, then Vulture, then Batman again. But while small in scale, he is still intimidating. As the scene in the car on the way to the homecoming dance, where he slowly puts together that Peter is Spider-Man, is bone-chillingly intense, truly proving you don't need superpowers or a giant CGI army to be a great villain. Keeping in line with past Spider-Man villains, Vulture also proves to be a somewhat sympathetic character, as while he does do terrible things, at the end of the day, he is a family man, who at least started with good intentions of wanting to provide for his family. And since Peter did save his daughter in DC, he offers Spider-Man a truce of sorts. When Peter decides it's more important to stop the Vulture than attend his high school homecoming dance and rejects the proposed truce, he ends up in a terrible spot as Vulture manages to crush the building they're in on top of Peter. And this leads to by far my favorite moment of this film. When this iteration of Peter Parker triumphantly lifts the broken building off of him, I think this is when he truly becomes Spider-Man. He's ditched the girl he has a massive crush on, pushes beyond what he thought his physical limits were, and stops Vulture in his homemade pajama suit. And even despite Vulture trying to kill him, he still drags him out the fire because it's the right thing to do, fully establishing himself as a hero to be taken seriously. But even more importantly, he proves to himself that even without the suit, he is something. He's Spider-Man. One knock that I've seen a lot of people have against this film is that Liz is quite a weak love interest, and I don't actually disagree. But I think she's intentionally written to be a bit of a footnote in Peter's story, as this film is largely about Peter having to make sacrifices in his everyday life in order to fulfill his role as Spider-Man. Also, in the context of a trilogy as a whole, Liz is obviously not the end-goal love interest, so I think she functions in the story just fine as is. All in all, Spider-Man Homecoming is a fantastic teenage drama that really nails the origin story of Spider-Man without retreading old ground. It simultaneously feels familiar but new, and this is exactly what the character needed to grow into a new era. The standard MCU quippiness and joke-heavy style also lends itself well to this character, as it captures the lighthearted humor of Spider-Man without going too campy. If you enjoyed this breakdown of Spider-Man Homecoming and are interested in further explorations of screen stories, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe. And if you feel like I missed anything, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.